North York gets recommended constantly as the smart move for people coming to Toronto. Close enough to the city, more space than downtown, better value. And look, sometimes that's completely true. I grew up in North York, and there's a gap between the reality and what people are told that nobody talks about. Because getting this wrong isn't just an inconvenience. In this market, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of your life in a place that was never right for you in the first place. In this video, we're going through 5 honest reasons North York might not be the right move for you, including reason number 3, which I almost never hear people bring up. My name's Jordan Abrams. I've been a realtor in the GTA and helping people move here for 9 years. If you're curious, reach out. All my info's down below. Let's get into the video. Reason number 1. The traffic and the 401 can be brutal. The traffic in North York is rough. And if nobody warned you about this before you move, it's going to be a rude awakening. North York sits right on top of the 401. And if you've never driven the 401 through Toronto during rush hour, let me paint you a picture. It's one of the busiest highways in North America. We're not talking slow, we're talking the kind of stop and go traffic where you start questioning every life decision that led you to this moment. Getting from North York to downtown Toronto during rush hour can easily be 45 minutes to an hour, and that's on a normal day. Add rain, add an accident or snow, add a Leafs game or a concert getting out, and you're looking at significantly longer. I grew up here and I just accepted it as part of daily life. On a positive note, you do have the 404 just east of Don Mills, which runs north and south along with the Allen on the west. But those get backed up too, just not quite as badly as the 401. Now let's get into reason number 2, because this one builds directly on everything we just talked about. Reason number 2, you're not really close to anything. North York is kind of in the middle of everything without being convenient to anything outside of itself. Downtown feels farther than it looks on a map when you're sitting in the traffic we just talked about. Mississauga is a haul, Scarborough's a haul, Richmond Hill is right there, but getting on the 404 North during rush hour has its own set of problems. Now here's the saving grace, and it's a real one. Line 1 of the subway runs right through the heart of North York on Yonge and on the west side near Downsview. If you live near a subway station, getting downtown is actually pretty straightforward. I used to do it for work every day. You're looking at about 25 to 35 minutes to Union Station from Line 1 through Yonge or the west side. That's competitive with anywhere in the city. For a lot of people, that subway access becomes a deciding factor, and honestly, it's a real reason to choose North York. But step away from that subway corridor and the picture changes completely. A lot of North York is not walkable. Wide suburban streets, strip malls, plazas, big box stores. If you're not near a subway station, you're getting in a car for almost everything. Groceries, gym, dinner, errands, all of it. And then you're stuck in the traffic we went over in reason number 1. And look, if you're trying to figure out which part of North York actually makes sense for your commute and your lifestyle, that's exactly the kind of thing I help people figure out every single week. Pause the video, write down my number. All my info is on screen and down below, and I personally get back to everyone. Coming up in reason number 3, and this is the one I almost never hear people talk about before they move, we're getting into something about North York that you really can't figure out from a listing or a Google search. It's something I noticed growing up here, and it took me years to actually put into words. Reason number 3, North York doesn't really have an identity. This is one of the hardest things to explain until you've actually spent time here, and I say that as someone who grew up in North York. North York is enormous. We're talking all the way from Downsview on the west side to the 404 on the east. That's a massive footprint, and within that footprint, you've got communities from literally every corner of the world living side by side without a whole lot connecting them. Iranian communities, Korean, Chinese, Russian, South Asian, and that's just scratching the surface. I went to public school here, and my friends were from all over the world. That part is actually one of North York's biggest strengths in my opinion. But here's where it becomes a potential downside depending on what you're looking for. Because all that diversity is largely segmented. Near Yonge and Finch, for example, there's always been a strong Korean scene, Korean barbecue, Korean karaoke bars, a real community feel that's been there for decades. But that's one pocket. Drive 20 minutes in any direction and you're in a completely different world with a completely different feel. There's no single thread that ties North York together the way there is in other parts of the GTA. Compare that to somewhere like the Distillery District or Kensington Market or even Port Credit in Mississauga. Those places have a feel. You know where you are, you know what the neighborhood is about. North York is harder to pin down than that. It's a lot of things at once without fully being any one of them. And for some people, that's completely fine. If you value diversity over identity, North York actually delivers on that in a way very few places in Canada can. Coming up in reason number 4, this one is purely about the numbers, and it catches people off guard more than almost anything else when they actually sit down and look at it properly. Reason number 4, the price gap is smaller than people think. North York is cheaper than downtown Toronto. That part is true. But the gap is a lot smaller than most people expect when they actually sit down and look at the numbers properly. And this matters because a lot of people choose North York specifically for the value proposition. They assume they're getting a meaningful discount for stepping back from the core, and sometimes they are, but sometimes the difference is smaller than the lifestyle trade-off they're making to get it. Detached homes in North York are averaging around 1.4 to 1.5 million right now, depending on the area. Downtown Toronto detached homes are averaging closer to 2 million plus. So the gap on detached is real. You're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. Semi-detached in North York run between $900,000 and $1 million. In downtown, you're looking at around 1.1 to 1.2 million for a comparable semi. Again, the gap exists, but it's not so dramatic. Condos are where it gets interesting. A decent one-bedroom condo in North York right now is going to run you somewhere between $500,000 and $580,000. Downtown Toronto, a comparable unit is $600,000 to $650,000. That's a gap of maybe 70 to 100 grand. On a mortgage, that's not nothing, but it's also not the dramatic discount people sometimes picture when they decide to move further from the core. And on the rental side, a one bedroom in North York is averaging around $2,100 to $2,200 a month right now. Downtown Toronto is closer to $2,350. So you're saving maybe $150 to $200 a month, which adds up over a year, but it's not a life-changing amount. Now here's where it gets important. Remember reason number 2? You almost certainly need a car in North York? Add car insurance in Ontario, which is the highest in the country. Add car payments, gas, maintenance, and that $150 monthly rental savings disappears entirely. In fact, North York becomes more expensive. The price gap between North York and downtown starts to look a lot less compelling once you factor in carrying costs that come with being car dependent. The value is real, but it's more nuanced than the headline numbers suggest. If you want someone to run those numbers for your specific situation, your budget, your commute, your family, that's exactly what I do. Pause the video, write down my number. It's on screen right now, and I personally get back to everyone who reaches out. Coming up in reason number 5, North York has some of the top ranked schools in all of Ontario. It also has some of the lowest ones, and the gap between them can be a single street. If you're moving here with a family, this is the one you absolutely cannot miss. Reason number 5, the school system is more uneven than people realize. This one is specifically for anyone moving to North York with kids or planning to start a family here. The school quality here varies enormously depending on exactly where you land, and most people have no idea until after they've already bought. North York has some truly excellent schools. Earl Haig and Willowdale is widely considered one of the top choices in all of Toronto. York Mills Collegiate, where I went to high school and so did my mom, hi mom if you're watching, serves the York Mills and Bridle Path area and has a long-standing reputation for academic excellence and getting students into top universities. A.Y. Jackson near Leslie and Steeles, right near where I grew up, doesn't carry the same price premium as those last two, but delivers comparable school quality. If you're a family trying to get into a strong school without overpaying for the address, that's worth knowing about. But here's the other side. Some of the lowest ranked schools in the entire GTA are also in North York. Westview Centennial ranks 733rd out of 747 secondary schools in all of Ontario. George S. Henry Academy also sits near the bottom of that same list. That's not a small gap. That's the top and bottom of the provincial rankings existing under the same North York label. And here's the practical problem. When you're searching listings, you're not seeing any of that. You're seeing a price and a street name. Two houses that look almost identical on paper can be feeding into completely different school zones. One world class, one near the bottom of the province. The listing won't tell you which is which. And if a home in North York looks like an unusually good value for the area, the school zone is often exactly why. Verdict: who North York is for. So look, after everything we just covered, let's be real about what North York is and isn't. The 401 traffic is brutal. You need a car for most of it. The price gap versus downtown is smaller than people expect, especially if you need a car. The school system has more variance than almost anywhere in Toronto, and it doesn't have the tight identity you get from other parts of the GTA. Those are real things worth knowing before you sign anything. But here's the other side of the equation, and I say this as someone who grew up here. If you're a family who wants space, greenery, trees, ravines, parks, and strong schools without paying downtown prices, North York delivers. Quiet streets, mature trees, and though there is bad traffic, that's true for pretty much everywhere in Toronto, you do have access to the Allen, the 401, the 404, and the 400 all in one area. If you're near a subway stop, the commute into the core is completely manageable. The cultural diversity is world class, and right now in 2026, this is one of the best buyer's markets I've seen in my entire career. If you buy the right property in the right pocket right now, you could look back on it as one of the best financial decisions you ever made. The people who thrive here know exactly what they're signing up for. The people who struggle moved here expecting something North York was never going to give them. Now you know that before you commit. If North York is still on your list, or if you're trying to figure out if it should be, reach out. I grew up here, I know these streets, and within a quick call, I can get you headed in the right direction and help save you some painful mistakes. All my info is down below. If this helped at all, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. New videos every Tuesday and Friday. I'm Jordan Abrams. I'll see you around town.